This is a special presentation of the Conservative Hideout. I snark, you decide. Hello, and welcome to this special edition of the Conservative Hideout. It probably will come as a big surprise to many conservatives, but there's an unwritten, unspoken set of rules. These rules determine how the media reports about conservatives, and how most of the public perceives them. As a public service, we'll review those rules tonight and show some examples, all to improve your understanding of this crucial issue. The rules themselves are very simple. When conservatives do it, it's bad. Very, very bad. On the contrary, when liberals do the exact same thing, it's alright. Perfectly okay, not a problem. As a service to the conservative community, I think it's necessary to delve into these rules, give some examples, and use this as a guide so conservatives will know exactly what these rules entail and how it affects them in their daily lives. To illustrate how these rules are applied, we're going to look at some photos from recent protests, from the Tea Parties, and from some liberal protests in the last several years. We'll use these to compare and apply the rules individually. Here's a picture from one of the April Tea Parties. According to the Department of Homeland Security, these people are all dangerous terrorists. They're holding flags, holding signs that show that they disagree with the government, and they're milling around listening to a speaker. Clearly they're up to something. Definitely dangerous terrorists. Next up, we have a picture from the 2008 Republican National Convention. Here we see several protesters destroying a police car. However, this is perfectly okay because they were protesting the fascist policies of George W. Bush. This is perfectly okay. This is civil disobedience. Nothing to see here. Just move right along. This photo was also taken at a Tea Party. And as you can see, there's flags in the background, and I see a "Don't Tread on Me" sign there, and "Freedom will be defended." Now, this is something that basically our founding fathers suggested we do. However, this makes them a dangerous terrorist for holding this sign in such a menacing manner. Next up, we have a picture from the G20 conference in England, and as you can see, there's some looting going on. However, they're protesting capitalism. Violence, destruction, mayhem, perfectly legitimate. It's civil disobedience, not at all a problem. Okay, here's another government-declared dangerous terrorist holding up a sign that indicates that she disagrees with the government. Clearly, most definitely, dangerous terrorist. This woman is smiling. She is definitely planning an act of terror. Here's another image that the mainstream media never showed you. This is from the 2008 Republican National Convention, and someone's throwing a large object through a plate glass window. Again, this is okay. This is civil disobedience. They're protesting Bush, who is a known fascist, even though he was all about freedom and democracy and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter. He was a fascist according to the left, and this is all okay. Now here's a picture that's close to my heart. Tea Party in Pittsburgh, and I do believe that is the Roberto Clemente Bridge in the background. And here we have protesters listening to a speaker. Clearly no mayhem, no destruction. However, these people are terrorists. Now, for an interesting little contrast, let's go yet again back to the Republican National Convention of '08. Here we have some protesters from that event. And aren't they disguised? Are they attempting to hide their identity because they're committing crimes? But then again, we have to remember, it's alright when the liberals do it. They can do whatever they want. They're protesting capitalism, free markets, all the good stuff that we like. Here we have a picture of a lady giving a speech at a tea party. Clearly, again, signs disagreeing with the government, people peacefully attending, no crime, no vandalism, no destruction, but they're the dangerous terrorists. We can't lose sight of that. These are the folks that are dangerous. These are the folks that are using ideas that, albeit that the government doesn't like, but ideas nonetheless. This makes them dangerous terrorists. Now here for an interesting contrast to the last picture, we have Sarah Palin, who was at that point running for Vice President of the United States, hanging in effigy. This is okay. There's no problem with this. This is free speech. Free speech when talking about freedom, very, very bad. Free speech, hanging someone in effigy, perfectly okay. Not a problem there. So what have we learned here today? Here's some things to consider. Doesn't matter that the Tea Parties have been peaceful. They're flat out wrong. The left can be as violent as they want, and it's perfectly okay. Patriotism equals terrorism. Forget that there's no evidence. Forget that there's been no violence. Forget that there hasn't been anything bad happening. It's bad, and the patriots are terrorists. Leftists that advocate violence are not terrorists. So here we have an interesting dichotomy where if you advocate peace and freedom, that's terrible and you're a terrorist. And if you advocate violence and then actually follow that up with violence, that's okay. So thanks for listening. I hope you found this to be informative. It certainly was entertaining to make. So just remember those rules, boys and girls. Conservatives do it, it's very, very bad. Liberals do it, it's alright. This has been a special report from the Conservative Hideout. I snark, you decide.